Hello friends, I welcome you all in this exciting training session being conducted by TNV Academy. Today, in this session, we will discuss about Clause 9 of ISO 27001-2013, which talks about the performance evaluation of the information security management system. So, let's get going and start our discussion. Let me explain you that what we will be covering in this chapter. In this chapter, we will be discussing the Clause 9 of ISO 27001-2013 that states that an organization should evaluate the performance of its information security management system. Clause 9 has three subclauses, that is, Subclause 9.1, Subclause 9.2, and Subclause 9.3. In this session, we will be taking up Subclause 9.1 as well and discuss its requirements along with Clause 9. Let us understand about the internal references taken by Clause 9 and Subclause 9.1. As far as Clause 9 and Subclause 9.1 are concerned, they do not take any reference from any of the clauses within the standard. They have their own set of requirements which an organization has to fulfill in order to achieve the objectives of its information security management system. However, if we talk about the external references, then for understanding the requirements of both the clauses, you should have an updated version, standard copy of ISO 22300-2018 with you. ISO 22300-2018 has definitions for several technical terminologies that are used under different clauses of ISO 27001-2018. Now, let me tell you what are the takeaways from this session. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand Learning 1. What is performance evaluation? Learning 2. How an organization can evaluate the performance of its information security management system. Learning 3. What tools an organization can choose to evaluate the performance of its ISMS. Learning 4. How an organization can document the results of the performance evaluation done for ISMS. So, let's begin our discussion with a brief introduction of Clause 9 by first understanding what is performance evaluation. Performance evaluation can simply be defined as a procedure through which the work performed is analyzed and results are collected to assess whether the work done is up to the required mark or not. Performance evaluation can be of individuals working within the organization, machines, gadgets, software, process, policies, etc., depending on the nature of business an organization performs. Performance evaluation is used to determine the amount of value addition done by a resource in terms of increased business revenue in comparison to industry standards and overall return on investment. Clause 9 of ISO 27001-2013 is all about monitoring, measuring, analyzing, and evaluating the performance of information security management system to ensure that it is effective and remains so throughout. This clause helps the organization to continually assess how they are performing in relation to its ISMS and its objectives for its continual improvement. Let us now discuss the requirements of Subclause 9.1 in detail. The Subclause 9.1 states that the organization shall evaluate the information security performance and the effectiveness of the information security management system. The organization shall determine Point 1. What needs to be monitored and measured, including information security processes and controls. Point 2. The methods for monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation as applicable to ensure valid results. Here is an important note to be understood. The methods selected should produce comparable and reproducible results to be considered valid. Point 3. when the monitoring and measuring shall be performed. Point 4. Who shall monitor and measure? Point 5. When the results from monitoring and measurement shall be analyzed and evaluated. And point 6. Who shall analyze and evaluate these results? The organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of the monitoring and measurement results. An organization not only has to establish and evaluate the performance of its information security management system, but also has to determine that whether the principles and procedures that has been implemented are accurate enough to achieve the objectives defined under its ISMS. The methods established for performance evaluation should take into consideration what needs to be monitored and measured, how to ensure the accuracy of results, and at what frequency to perform the monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation of ISMS data and results. For the performance evaluation, an organization first need to understand that it cannot evaluate everything. It is up to the organization to determine what metrics are important and how these will be collected and presented. The objective of monitoring and measurement is to assist the organization to gauge whether the intended outcome of data security activities, including risk assessment and treatment, is achieved as planned. For monitoring and measurement, the organization establishes point 1. What to watch and measure. Point 2. Who monitors and measures. Point 3. Methods to be used so on produce valid results, that is, comparable and reproducible. For analysis and evaluation, the organization establishes point 1. Who analyzes and evaluates the results from monitoring and measurement and when. Point 2. Methods to be used so on produce valid results. There are two aspects of evaluation. Aspect 1. Evaluating the knowledge security performance for determining whether the organization is doing the correct implementation of its ISMS. Point 2. Evaluating the effectiveness of the ISMS for determining whether or not the organization is doing the proper things, which incorporates determining the extent to which information security objectives are achieved. An organization is said to achieve its intended outcomes out of its information security management system if it has set up the requirements for monitoring its performance. In addition to the monitoring process, the organization should determine that when it has to monitor the performance of its ISMS, who will be the responsible person for regular monitoring, how the results will be documented, and who will be responsible for making the final judgment on the results evaluated. Friends, I hope you are clear with the requirements of subclause 9.1. Let's move on and discuss other important components of this subclause. So now, we will learn about the mandatory documents that an organization has to maintain while meeting the requirements of subclause 9.1. The subclause 9.1 of ISO 27001:2013 states that the organization should keep a documented information about the monitoring and measurement results of its ISMS. This documented information helps the organization in identifying that whether its ISMS is performing in the same way it is intended or not. Now, let us learn about how you can practice writing nonconformity for subclause 9.1 through the AFAR report shown on your screen. And last but not the least, let us understand the common mistakes which auditor do while performing audit under the subclause 9.1 of ISO 27001:2013. Mistake number 1. Auditors ask irrelevant question for the organization which does not relate with the organization to be audited. Mistake number 2. Sometimes auditors start thinking for the option, while auditor need to understand the client process and to decide if the client can achieve the result of the MSS through their own process. Mistake number 3. Auditors start consulting activities. Mistake number 4. Auditors start expecting document and records in clause where this may not be mandatory requirement. Mistake number 5. Auditors start asking for documents that are not relevant to the requirements of the clause or standard. For example, GST registration, FSSAI registration, etc. Dear friends, we have now come to the conclusion of this training session. See you soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, goodbye.